Hello, welcome to episode 129 in the Datapack tutorial series. We're in version 1.21. We're going to be selecting a random element in a list. So if I run a command, we can look at our list. We've got some names, 7 names: Bob, Nim, Po, Rab, Jip, Nub, Dot. They don't have to be 3 letters long. They can be any length you like. Why did I pick those names? God knows. Are they even names? Well, I suppose a few of them are. Anyway, but what we're going to do is we're going to be running a function. My name is Jip. My name is Jip. Nim. Po. Jip. Bob. Rab. There we go. So each time we run the function, we're just grabbing one of those names at random and filling it into that little message there. What could you use this for? Probably lots of different things, I should imagine. Maybe you want to give something a random enchantment, or you want to give something a random name like I'm doing. Maybe people collect items and you want a sword and it's called the magical sword of something. The magical sword of Po, the magical sword of Nub. Anyway, it's fun to make sort of complete things, like when we're sort of complete data packs like the pipe valve and stuff, but it's also handy to know how to just do small stuff as well. So I will be doing some tutorials on just smaller little bits. This will be one of them. Skip ahead to the actual making of it because I'm rambling too long. We're going to do 3 different versions. We're going to do using a scoreboard in 2 different ways, and we're going to do a version without a scoreboard at all. This came from a conversation I had with Gal Sergi when he said it to me as homework. He said, "Can you do it without using a scoreboard?" I'd like to say that I did it nice and quickly, but I didn't. I was pretty slow, to be honest. Anyway, that's enough waffling. Let's get on and build it now. Okay, here we are in VS Code. Let's have a look at the folders and files. So inside my namespace function, I've added the folder random, and inside there I've added the folder shared, and I've added version 1, version 2, version 3. We're doing 3 different versions. And we're going to be using the load function as well. We're not going to be using tick. Shared is going to be shared by all 3 versions. That's why it's there. Inside there we have get element. In version 1 and version 2 and version 3, we have get random index and run. Okay, so we're going to run is the function we're going to run. That will get a random index, and then it will use get element to say my name is and the random index. Right, I think it's probably best to start with load because we need a scoreboard for versions 1 and 2. So let's do scoreboard, objectives, add length dummy, and that's going to get the length of my array. Now let's have a quick look at how the array works. So let's say in my array I've got A, no, not an advancement, I just want A, thank you, B and C. Okay, so that's my list. That's what I've got in there. And the index for them, A would be 0, B would be 1, and C would be 2. But when I get the length of an array, that's going to count. It's going to say, well, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. You have 3 elements. Now you can see we've got a problem. If we get a random number between 0 and 3, we've got the problem that if we actually get 3, we've got no element. So, pretty simple fix. All we have to do is take 1 off it. And now we've got between 0 and 2. Perfect. That works for one way to do it. And that's the way we're going to be doing first. We're just going to be taking 1 off our list length. Okay. What I'll do is I'll comment this out because we'll come back to this. Can I go there, please, and comment out? There we go. There we go. So we'll leave that there. We'll come back to that. So let's do this one first. Version 1. So let's go to run. And we'll store a list of names. So data merge, or a list of anything you want, to be honest. Data merge into storage, ID temp. Now let's put it into data. This is our data. ID data. And we'll put it into an array. There's our list. And let's say Bob. And just to save a bit of time, I'm just going to copy and paste some other names in there. There you go. Bang, there we go. So we've got Bob, comma, nim, comma, po, comma, rab, comma, jip. Those are my names I've picked for no reason at all. Now let's get the length. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's get that 7. Let's do execute store result as a score. And we'll just call them fake player. Not a very descriptive name, so you probably want to pick a better name. Fake player.length. We could call that array.length or name array.length, or not dot. So instead of calling them fake player, call them name array or something that makes a bit more sense. But I just want to make it clear that it is a fake player. If data storage ID data array bonk, and that is literally just going to count these. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. I'll put 7 into the fake player's length score. So we've done the first bit. We've got our first number. Now we need to take 1 off it. So let's decrement the length. Pretty easy, really. We can just use a scoreboard for that. Scoreboard players. Remove fake player length 1. Okay, great. We've done that. Now let's store the new length back into storage. Execute store result into storage. We'll put this one into temp, ID temp, and still put it into array, but we'll put it into array.length. And as an integer, we'll times it by 1. So at the moment we got 7, then we took 1 off, we got 6. 6 times 1 is still 6. Run scoreboard players get fake player length. Okay, so we've stored a 6 into array.length in the storage ID temp. Now let's get a random index, and we're going to use a function for this. So, and we'll send it the length as well. So let's do function, and we're doing version 1. So version 1 get random index with storage ID temp array, which means it's going to have access. So we send it ID temp array, and it's going to have access to anything after that dot, so it'll have access to dot length. Cool. Then we'll get the element at that index, so we'll just pass that to get element, the shared one. So let's run that function shared get element with storage ID temp array, and we're going to put something in there. We're going to put an output. So get a random index is going to generate an output and save it into ID temp array, and then we'll pass that output to get element. Now an element is one of the entries. So we have 1 element, 2 elements, 3 elements, and now let's output the result. So we'll just do that as a tell raw. Tell raw for all players. Let's do it the quick way. Let's not bother saying my name is. We'll just do the result. We don't need my name is. Well, no, I'll show you how to. Why not? You might want to do that yourself anyway. So we'll have square brackets around it, and we'll have 2 sets of curly brackets. Okay, so we've got 1 thing there, and we've got 1 thing there. This first bit is going to be a bit of text, and that's the bit that's going to say my name. My name. I don't know why I did that. My name is, and we'll leave a space. And the next bit we're going to check storage. Which storage do you want? I would like ID temp, please. Okay, and what's the NBT that you want to check in there? Well, I would like to check the output. Now we don't have an output yet. Remember, get element is going to create the output. So let's do get a random index. I think that would probably be next. Let's go down, get random index. So we're passing a length, and the length is currently containing 6. So we just need a random number between 0 and 6. Okay. So let's do it without the macro. Execute store result into storage, ID temp, array dot index as an integer, multiply it by 1, run random value between 0 and 6. Okay, but that's going to be 0 and 6 always. Now we don't want that, we need to macroify it. We are passing the length. Here we have a length stored inside ID temp array. We are passing ID temp array, so we can get that length. So instead of 0 to 6, it will be 0 to length. Now, it's not happy, so we'll put our $sign on the beginning to say you are using an argument. Here it is, that has been passed to you. So that should return something between 0 and 6. Then we'll go to get element. Okay, so we've now, inside ID temp array, we now have index stored. So we can use that index. So let's go to get element. And we will data modify storage ID temp output. That's where our output is being made. Set from storage ID data array. Now if we wanted to pick Bob, we could put 0. So Bob is 0. If we wanted Nim, it would be 1. If we want Poe, it would be 2. Well, we want to use the index that we saved, so let's get rid of that 0. Index. And save that. Okay, have we got everything needed? We do run. We create a list of names. We store the length, so we've stored a 7. We take one off, we've got a 6. We pass the 6. Oh no, we store the new length into ID temp array length. So we've got a 6 in there. Then we get a random index and we pass it ID temp array. So we have access to length. So let's go to get random index. Store into array index a random number between 0 and, we passed a 6, so 0 and 6. Let's say we get a 3. We go back, get the element at that index. So we're now running shared get element with ID temp array, which now has access to that index because we added it here. So let's say it's still a 3, get element, data modify storage, output, set from storage, array 3. So that will go and grab 0, 1, 2, 3. It will grab the name Rab and it will put it into ID temp output. Okay, and then we go down to the next line and we do a tell raw and we look at storage, ID temp, and we look at the MBT output. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go back and do a reload. And let's do function version 1 run. My name is Nim. Nim, Poe, Nim, links like Poe, Nub, Nim. It is random, but we don't have many choices, so it's going to select the same ones a lot of times. Okay, so that's worked. No problem with that at all. That's all fine. Right, let's do a different version. I mean, if you just wanted something that works, I mean, that works. You can use that. But let's do a different version. And they're all going to be very similar. So this is going to take a lot less time now. I'm literally just going to cut and paste huge chunks. So first thing I'm going to do is, do you know what? I think I'm just going to copy the whole lot. Because that always goes well when we do that, doesn't it? Let's copy all of that. And we'll go to run on version 2. We don't need those. Let's just go over the top. Bang. Okay, so we're exactly the same as version 1 at the moment. I am going to change some things though. Right, well, we want to keep shared. Let's have a look down here. We want the output and we want to keep shared. So those are going to be the same. Let's just push them off down there. Those are going to be the same. We want to make a list of names. Yes, that's going to be the same. Store a length of the list. Yeah, we want to store the length of the list. But we're going to do it a bit differently, I think. Well, no, we'll get there. Let's do this bit. These 3 bits. Get a random index. Well, we'll have to change that. Okay, let's get rid of these bits here. Oh dear. These bits here. Okay, so different version. We've created the list. We now have the number 7 again. And let's store that length. So this time we're going to store it in a different way. What we're going to do, store length, home. We are going to execute, store, store into the result, into storage, id temp, array.length as an integer, but this time we're going to times it by -1. Okay, so we're timesing it by -1. Run scoreboard players get fake player length. Okay. Well, this is a bit strange. So what we're getting is we're getting a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're storing that into array length, but we're timesing it by -1 as we paste it in there. Why are we doing that? Okay, let's have a little look at a calculator. So we're getting 7, and we are multiplying it by -1. We're getting a -7. Okay. Why are we getting a minus number? Let's have a look. Let's go back to our load function and our little demonstration here. Now, if you count from the beginning of an array, it's 0, 1, 2. But if you count from the end of an array, this one is -1, this one is -2, and this one is -3. And you can see there that in our example where we've got 3 entries, we don't actually need to do the minusing anymore, because we can just pick a number between -1 and -3. So what I've done is I've taken my 7 that we got from counting them, I've timesed it by -1, so now I've got -7, so now I just need to pick a number between -1 and -7. Cool. Okay, so we don't actually need to take a number off. Okay, so we're going to have to do a different random index, because we're going to have to do that differently. So let's say version 2 get random index, and it's going to be very similar. So I'm going to copy version 1's. Let's go and copy version 1's. Copy, and let's paste it into version 2. But remember, now we're dealing with a -7, and so we want between -7 and -1. Well, the lowest number has to go first, so -7 to -1. Okay. Let's go back. Let's get rid of that one. Let's go back. I think, basically, we're pretty much done. So we've got the random index. Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's try it. Wink. Reload. Version 1. No, we do want to do version 2. Nim. Nub. Nub. Bob. Nub. Chip. Nub. Yeah, okay. So we've managed to save a bit of time there. We're not, we don't have to decrement that score anymore, because we're just automatically instead of counting from the beginning of the list and having to start at 0, we're counting from the end of the list, and we don't have to do that. Cool. Okay. That's version 2 done. Now, let's have a look at this. Let's tidy this up a bit again. Now we can do it where we don't even need a score at all. We could just remove the score. So I think what we'll do is we will copy this from version 2, copy, and let's go to version 3. Boink. Right. Well, I still want the shared bit at the end and output the result, and I still want the list of names. Right, these are the bits I'm going to change. Well, we need to get a random index, but we're going to change that to version 3 because that will be a little bit different. So we'll keep that bit. Okay, so it's these 2 bits here we want to change. Store the length of the list. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to store it in the fake player because I don't want to use a score this time. This was part of the homework that Galsergi set me. He said, can you do it without using a score? Yes, eventually, after a long time. So we'll execute store result into storage id temp array.length as an integer 1 times it by 1 if data storage id data array. There we go. So we're going to get a 7. We're going to get a 7 put into the length. Okay. Let's get rid of this command. It's not actually doing anything. Doink. That's it. We're going to put a 7 in there. You think, well, how's that going to work? Well, we're going to make the get random index a little bit different. Well, let's copy this one because it's going to be very similar. Copy. And for version 3, well, we want between -7 and -1. And currently, we are storing a 7 in the length. So really, if we read what this is saying here, execute store result storage id temp array index integer 1 run random value between 7 and -1. Well, okay, then instead of that, do -7 to -1. There we go. We just literally just stick a little minus sign there. That's what we're going to do. Let's save that. And we should all be working. Let's try it. A reload. Let's try version 3. Rab jip nim dot nub nim jip. I sound like I've gone crazy. There we go. So let me clear that chat. We have 3 different ways, which are all remarkably similar. But I thought I would show, instead of just showing one, I thought, well, why not? Let's show a few more. If someone just wanted a way for it to work, they could have grabbed the first one and stopped watching. If you were interested in, I don't know, other things you can do, I showed you a couple of extra options. There we go. Anyway, thanks to Galsergi for setting that as a homework for me. That was quite a fun one. He's now set me an even harder one, which is, let me just have a look at the message here. How would you create an enchantment for boots that allows a player to double jump? And the higher the level of the enchantment, the more you can jump. Oh my god, I don't know what. And then he sent me the enchantment. It's like an essay, just the enchantment itself. I've no idea what I'm going to do for it. Anyway, I'm waffling on. Have a great day. I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.